Mr. Minister, what a pleasure to see you here in Abu Dhabi.
Pleasure to be with you.
I know you are having a big schedule right here, just like many of your colleagues. Tell us more about your takeaway from the opening ceremony. The Director General of WTO has outlined such a rich list of tasks. So to you, how to make it a successful one, a hopeful one?
Well, Lebanon has been a long-standing seeker of joining the WTO. It's been for us a very long process. It's been a long journey over, I would say, almost 18 years now, working on the accession. Not to say that Lebanon has been going through so many turbulences, which did not really help us do that earlier. However, today we are very close to the finish line. Lebanon, I would say, if it didn't go through the past few years in economic turmoil, we would have been today one of the countries that would be joining the WTO along with Comoros and the other countries that joined today. However, we are working on major reforms in Lebanon. We have a lot of positive things that will be developing in the next, I would say, year or this year, 2024. That is why we were very keen to have a serious presence and representation on a ministerial level in the WTO in Abu Dhabi today in its 13th session. So we believe that the agenda that the DG put is something we are aware of. We are working on those objectives, and we are very close to the finish line. We hope that the next round, Lebanon will be one of the countries that will join the WTO.
Right. You are coming from a country and a region now plagued by security issues, by violence and conflicts. I just don't know how you and together with your people are holding on to this while at the same time trying to develop trade. Tell us how you are doing it.
Well, this is, I was talking earlier to a group as well from China. We had the China Roundtable really working on the Arab region, hosting a big event for the Arab region, because China believes that even Lebanon, being a small economy in this wider Arab region, is a very important component, because we look forward, as you mentioned, our major problem is stability. And this is an issue, this is a disease that hit the whole Middle East, particularly a big number of the Arab countries. And without stability, there is no prosperity. Without stability and security, trade is jeopardized as well, as we see now on all the sea entry points in Yemen and other places, how it affected the movement of ships coming to the Middle East and to the Arab countries, how it affected the prices, how it negatively impacted the trade cycle between Asia and the Arab world going all the way to Lebanon. We have price increases, we have delays, we have shortage in products. So we definitely need to work first on more stability, more security, to enhance and to develop our trade relationships. But again, as I said, this is to come, because as we know, politics is always a negotiation cycle that is between big nations, and then the effect goes to the smaller nations. And unfortunately, we are one of those smaller nations that is affected by the regional struggles.
So here comes more pressure for your job, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You still need to do trade. And trade will be very important for the livelihood of your people.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it is my bread and butter. It's my ultimate mission to really work on improving trade. That's why we really value partners and allies and friendly countries that still believe that despite the challenges in Lebanon, there is room for development, there is room for growth. If we are talking particularly now really about Lebanon as a market, yes, despite the fact that Lebanon is a small country, but nobody knows that this little small country imports around $20 billion. That's a big number. I mean, it's not a healthy number for a small economy, but unfortunately, the policies that were put in Lebanon for the past 4 decades turned the country into a fully importing country. So we import about 95% of what we consume. For any trade partner, this is the perfect scenario. But for us, we are working now, going back to the potential, we are working on changing our economic idea with focus on trade and calling it creative economy. What we want to trade, what we want to sell is more knowledge-based. We want to focus on the digital era. We want to focus on the smart young people that we have. And Lebanon has been known to be one of the top 2 or top 3 countries in the region that has the ability to develop everything digital, softwares, applications, to the largest extent of what the digital world can take you. And this is something that we can really export to the world and partner with other nations.
What about investment facilitation for development agreement? I know that the ministers have collectively, those participating, put forward this document into the formal rundown of the overall MC13. Now that's already a great success that needs to be celebrated. Having said that, though, I know it's been going through a lot of difficulties, but finally you got more than 120 countries, more than 120 members of WTO on board. Yes. So you are also among the countries that are facilitating and participating in this IFD. Tell us more about what is it like for you, relatively smaller economy, be able to, together with others, try to push forward an important document?
It is a big deal. It is a big deal, and usually, Lebanon, status of Lebanon now is an observer at this stage. However, being supportive of an initiative like this and being part of a pool or a bigger group that gathered about, as you mentioned, about 120 countries, never goes not registered for the country in the process of the WTO. So when Lebanon, let's say the small little nation on the Mediterranean, that is, the effect of it is a vote, or the effect of it is a decision to be part of the 120 nations pushing for those financing facilities, it makes a big difference, and it adds to your positive points in your mission with the WTO. It enhances your role as a nation that is present and is part of this discussion and approved this policy or this vision for the future. This is really the real value for a small country. And when the time comes when we are a fully fledged member in the WTO, it will always be back in the memory of what Lebanon in the 13th ministerial meeting decided, or what Lebanon supported. And usually in those types of organizations, those positions, those supporting positions or decisions are never go without a price. Right. They always pay back in a good way. That is the way to go. Participate, make your point, put your vision, be part of the discussion, be part of the future, be part of the decision making. Right. Otherwise, you will be left alone. When
you, together with others, working with China and WTO to build the capacities of developing countries, some includes the least developed economies. What do you see are the most crucial qualities that need to be worked on? We work very closely with our Chinese counterparts on trade, and we even launched most recently online platforms to sell goods and services from Lebanon to China. And the Chinese authorities and the embassy with its commercial office and trade office were very, very supportive to open up the Chinese market for Lebanese talent and products. And we were surprised that there was a lot of interest from China in Lebanese goods and services. I mean, they like our food, they like our products, they like our art, they like even, we have young people now doing
things in the digital world, like certain drawings that are, I forget the name exactly of, but there's a lot going on, and we have two major internet outlets or online shopping platforms that are doing phenomenal. Because, I mean, you can imagine a small little country like Lebanon having a market like China open up. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, and we are very keen to keep developing those relationships, especially now that Lebanon is going through turbulence in its economy and is really looking for markets that are friendly and can accommodate what Lebanon has to offer.
You are coming from, Mr. Minister, a very dynamic region. I mean, if you look at what is going on here in UAE or Saudi Arabia over the past few years, it's really impressive. Jordan and some others as well. But there's also a lot of uncertainties, as you mentioned, in your part of the Middle East and the Arab region. So how do you see this mixed picture of the region? How do you see the role of your country? What can be done by the region to you?
So we're hoping that countries like Lebanon will jump on that train, which is called the 2030 vision, play a major role and benefit from the ecosystem growing. Because only when you create jobs, you will fight terrorism. Only when you give someone a paycheck, you will give him a decent life. Only when you improve the livelihood of young people and encourage them to get educated, you will get a healthier society. So that is a very good investment, and that's what needs to be done. And then it will take time, but eventually we will have a better Arab world altogether, and it will make it easier to work with other nations like Europe, like the US, like China, and offer more. I have been visiting a lot of countries around the world, and I'm saying, I'm not visiting as a minister that's saying, we need help, we need support. I'm visiting and I'm saying, look, we need win-win projects. We need to have win-win partnerships. We need to offer you and add value, so we work together. And that is the only way now, I think, that any nation can expect a partner or an ally to be by your side. When you give them hope that you will be a win-win partner and you will have mutual interests that are positive for both.
Do you talk like that to your colleagues, to your team?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Even more intense.
I could tell, almost.
I lecture them every morning, but they get excited, they get pumped up, because you have to keep the morale of your people and your team always up, especially when you're facing hard times.
What if you have setbacks? I mean, you keep them up?
Well, we've been in this government. Well, we have a saying in Lebanon. We say we pull from weakness strength. So we do have a lot of setbacks. Lebanon has been going through 3 years of setbacks, and our government really came into a situation where Lebanon, by the World Bank report and the IMF, was labeled as the worst economic clash in the world in this century, because everything collapsed together. The economy, the banking system, the social life, the healthcare, now the war. Like, they couldn't find out a case law that showed a country that collapsed within 2-3 years that fast. We lost 98% of the value of our currency in less than 2 years. So whoever had an income that was, let's say, $1,000, now it's worth $10. And you can imagine how that can affect the livelihood of people.
I wish I could be present when you talk to your colleagues in the morning, every day.
Well, you can visit Lebanon and you can come to my office every morning.
I hope your accession to the WTO will be soon in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Minister, for your precious time.